Hello guys, it's Sebastian and welcome to the first episode of my podcast, which is entitled Puhon. If you guys don't know what Puhon means, it is basically a Bisaya term and it literally translates to someday, hopefully, or in God's time. So yeah, this podcast would basically just be our journey in pursuing the process or in pursuing the cycle of self-discovery. I say cycle because I feel like it is a journey that is continuous and something that would never end unless you already know who you really are and what your purpose in life is. But personally, I am having a problem with that. Like, I do not fully know myself yet. So this podcast will basically just be that journey, and I hope that you guys would be enjoying this one. I just want this podcast to be as chill as it can be. I don't want the editing to be like super heavy. I don't want to have a background music either. So if ever you guys would hear random background noises from time to time, I am so sorry for that. But I just want this podcast to be as raw as it can be, as real as it can feel. And yeah, I just want to make this one kind of like a story time with you guys, or in Filipino, a kwentuhan with you guys. So yeah, I just hope that this podcast would be of help to you. I don't know, I just hope that this is something you would listen to just because you'd want to, and I hope that I am interesting enough for you guys to listen to my podcast in the first place. Not that I'm saying that for you guys to feel bad about me, but I'm just saying that because, I just feel like a person who is special when people watch or listen to me just because of me and not because of the quirky editings that I do or the nice background musics or the nice thumbnails that I have or the nice content that I have. Sometimes I just also feel special whenever people just watch me just because it's me. I don't know, that sounds super duper narcissistic, but it really just makes me happy to know that people are watching me just because it is me. Again, I do not mean that in a narcissistic tone, but yeah, it's just great to feel that way, to be honest. And so for today's podcast, for my first ever podcast episode, I wouldn't want it to be like content heavy yet. I don't want this to be like filled with lessons already. I just wanted to keep it casual for the first time just because this is my first time doing a podcast. Even though some of the videos that I've already made in YouTube are kind of like just sit down videos wherein I basically just talk, which is basically like a podcast already. But I don't know, this might be like the first official podcast that I'm doing just because, it's super raw and real. I feel like because like my sit down videos before wherein I just basically talk about things that I find interesting or that I'm passionate about, I have this tendency to just still edit them and add background music to them because I feel like people would just not be interested in watching them if those effects or those background musics or those, I don't know, thumbnails would not be there in the first place. But yeah, that's what I'm trying to lessen today. I'm just trying to be more raw with you guys. And so that's the podcast that I'm doing today. So basically, wow, that was a long intro. I don't even know how long my podcast episodes would be. I haven't asked you guys about that. Today is March 11, and I feel like I would be uploading my first ever podcast episode on I don't know, probably March as well, or April if I would not be able to upload it this March because I still have quite a few videos over here, and yeah, I'm just not sure when I would be uploading this one. Anyway, my camera is blinking at me already. I would just change my battery and I would go back to you guys again. If you guys are from Spotify, you wouldn't notice a difference, but yeah, I'll be back. Okay guys, so I am back. I just finished changing the battery of my camera. So basically, as you guys can see from the title of my first ever podcast, I would be I'm sharing with you guys how I started my YouTube channel, as how ironic that just sound like, and also this podcast channel, and on top of that, to just generalize everything and to also in a way connect to you guys. I would be sharing with you guys how I embrace change and how we should just embrace change in general if it benefits you, like not only for a short amount of time, but if it will benefit you in the long run. Because I feel like starting a YouTube channel or starting something that you're not used to before is just a great example of embracing change, and that's what I would basically be talking about today. So we would be talking first about why I started doing YouTube or how I got into it. So like ever since I was in grade school, like 6th grade, that's the year where I got exposed into video editing and all that. Like my editing wasn't even that good during that time. I mean, even today I feel like it is still not good, but before it was not as good as what it is now, obviously, because it is a learning process. But yeah, that's when I got interested in doing edits, like in videos, also in photography. But I feel like the time that I've been interested in photography is quite longer as compared to how it is in like videography or like in video making. Like ever since then, I've always loved talking. My school would get me as their MC before, and that is not to brag in one way or another, by the way, but that just goes to show how much I love talking at such a young age. And yeah, that's just basically how it all started. And like after that, I just always thought of starting a YouTube channel. But like on my 7th up until 10th grade, it wasn't like actually much of a big deal for me, but it was like always living in my mind, like what if I start a YouTube channel or like stuff like that. And then at 10th grade, my uncle and my aunt decided to give me this camera, the Canon G7X Mark II, as my graduation gift, or the moving up gift, because basically that wasn't my graduation yet. It was just the moving up ceremony from our 10th grade moving on to the senior high. And yeah, if you guys didn't know yet, if you are new to this channel, I am Sebastian. I am currently 18 years old and I am from the Philippines. So just a short background so you guys could also have a context of what I'm talking about and who I am. So yep, that's that. That's some personal basic information that you need to know. And yeah, oh no, it was actually not in my 10th grade when I got this camera. I was actually in my 11th grade. So like just last year. Yeah, or last year. I don't know, but like I got this camera when I was in 11th grade. I believe it's for my birthday. It's a birthday gift, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure, but like it is a gift anyway. And so I'm just super thankful for my aunt and my uncle for just always supporting me. Not only them, but like a lot of people who I surround myself with are like very supportive of me. And that's like one of the sole reasons that makes me want to keep going. And I feel like it is also important to have a solid support system, most especially when you are new to a field that you are pursuing or that you are immersing yourself in. And that's what happened in my YouTube channel. But before that, a lot of thought actually went into this YouTube channel. I asked some friends, some trusted friends. I asked Chantal, which you guys already know. I also asked Baron, one of my friends, and they were like super duper supportive of it. There were also a lot of other friends that I've just asked if, I should start a YouTube channel, and none of them said I should not. So, another sign that I'm lucky to have been surrounded by this type of friends. And also my family. I am super duper open to my family when it comes to the plans that I want to do in my life. And this YouTube channel, this isn't new to them. Like, they weren't shocked when I just said to them, I want to start a YouTube channel, because they bought the camera for that specific reason in the first place. So they already saw it coming. But it wasn't that decided before, like the first time that I got this camera. Like, I want to start a YouTube channel, but I'm not that fully into it yet. But like, I'm getting there. But like, I feel like no matter what, I would also start a YouTube channel. But like, that quarantine lockdown setup just gave me that time to do one already. Not that I'm in one way or another romanticizing this COVID pandemic, because it has caused a lot of lives and a lot of problems, and it flourished a lot of world problems in general. And so yeah, that's how I started doing YouTube. And I just started in the summer and thought that it would be a great way for me to not be distracted and have a lot of things to do whenever the classes would already start. Because if I were to start a YouTube channel while I am in the middle of a school year, that would just be probably super hard to balance. But since I started doing a YouTube channel in like a time where I'm still not in school or like in online classes, it just gave me that way to make as much videos as I can before, to not rush everything whenever I already have classes. So that's kind of like a great way for me to kind of get ready like physically, and also prepare myself and get used to doing YouTube videos, editing them, editing a thumbnail, or just in general getting used to how YouTube works. And yeah, personally, that's how I embraced this change of like having to also do YouTube. I just got used to it. I just sticked to my work ethics. And I feel like that's one of the things that kept me going also, is because I don't know, I just want to also just make videos in general. It is a thing I am passionate about, even though my videos are like not that super duper good, but I just enjoy doing them, like the process of thinking what content I should be doing this time, what vibes I should give off, like what thumbnail I should be going for, like what type of editing I should go for, and like all the every other art that you could possibly associate with YouTube. I just get excited and doing it every time, even though sometimes the schedule could be kind of hectic and like I get overwhelmed. I still see to it that I'd be able to make a YouTube video by the end of the week. I don't know if that is something that is toxic in the long run, but so far that's how I've been working. That's what kept my boat afloat in this hashtag YouTube journey of mine. And yeah, I just hope that it stays that way, and I hope I wouldn't get burnt out. That's why I also try to rest like once a month. For example, I wouldn't shoot in this specific week just because I would just want to relax and to not tire myself in the long run, because I feel like to stop doing a thing that you once loved just because you got burnout is something that is unfortunate, to be honest, because it is something that you're passionate about. So, you wouldn't want to tire yourself doing that. You wouldn't want to overwork yourself in that specific field. I know it is easier said than done, because to be honest, even I still have a problem with overworking. And I feel like it is just a continuous process of knowing when to stop, knowing when to take a rest, when to step back and just breathe, to be honest. But yeah, I am not the best person to talk to whenever you feel like you're overworking, because even I have a problem with that. But I try to remind myself every so often that I also need a rest and that I also deserve it. And yeah, just a thing that makes me feel human, to be honest, is to also be able to rest after a long time of working, because I feel like I've been occupied for the past months already. And I know this sounds super duper dramatic, but I feel like balancing academics and YouTube and other work is just, it could tire you in the long run, like it really will. But yeah, resting every now and then is just what would keep you healthier, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, that's basically my YouTube journey, how we started doing it and why I started doing it. So now we would be talking about change and embracing them. The problem that I see with us having to embrace change is the fear that comes along with it, because not everybody that is surrounding us would also want that change to happen to us in the first place. For example, if you are a student who would want to pursue an art-related course in the future and your parents don't see you in that specific field because they want you to be this, they want you to be that. And that's when the fear of embracing change would come in, just because you want to change directions right now and you want to take that art related course, but like on the part of your parents, deep down that they want this specific course for you, and you're just torn on whether or not you should take what you really like or you should just follow what they want. I feel like I cannot relate to this because my parents have been like supportive of me ever since I was a child. That I've always said that I always wanted to be a doctor, even though sometimes having to go to a film school also lurks in the deepest parts of my mind. But I don't know, I just feel like going to a medical course or immersing myself in that medical world, there's just something that is exciting about it that I just want to keep on doing that forever. Even though I also love doing videos and all that, don't get me wrong. But recently I just thought of this one. Like, what do I really want? Do I want to be a director or do I want to be a doctor? Because these two courses are like the ones that I've been really thinking about. And yeah, I just feel like through time I was able to weigh the pros and cons of each course. But yeah, I feel like in accepting change and embracing them, I feel like you would not just embrace the change itself, you would also embrace the fears, the judgments, and the criticisms that go along with the change that you want to happen in your life. And it is something that is not easy. Of course, it is not easy. After all, life isn't just about happiness and smiles and laughters and joy. It would be also about, problems and difficulties and fears. As cliche as it may sound, life is the balance of the yin and the yang. And yeah, for you to be just on the bright right side of life is just nearly impossible, if not impossible. And yeah, again, in embracing change, you would never want to embrace change just because this is the change that people want you to embrace. You would want to embrace the change that you truly want for yourself, because that is a change that would bring you peace and the change that will bring you long-term happiness, if not forever. And yeah, because like what I've said a while ago, if you want this specific change for yourself, be it in as simple as a hair color, some people might not want that for you, but at the end of the day, it's just a hair. I mean, you get what I mean. And everything that people see that having this colored hair or having, for example, tattoos and piercings make you less of a person, that is all a social construct. I'm sorry to break it to you, but it is really just a social construct. And it is something that would not harm people. And yeah, and accepting change, know that the first step toward it may be painful, but maybe pain really is the first step in embracing change, most especially if that change is something that not everybody wants you to take. But as long as it isn't detrimental to a certain person's reputation or a certain person's life in general, then you're good to go, to be honest, as long as you're not affecting any person's confidence, the way they perceive themselves as, and how they just feel about life in general. As long as you're not affecting those, honey, you're good to go with the change that you want to pursue in life. And yeah, never be afraid about what others might say about the change that you want to pursue in life, because who knows, that change might just bring out the best in you. And as cliche as this may sound, what if that change would just make you meet better people? What if that change would give you everything that you deserve in the world? What if that change can give you the world? That change is something that needs not to be held back just because it is not what other people want from you. Again, like what I've said a while ago, as long as it is not affecting other people's life, as long as it is not detrimental, again, like what I've said a while ago, as long as it is not detrimental in one's life, then you're good to go, to be honest. You are perfectly fine. Do not overthink about what others are telling you. And yeah, those are probably just the things that I'll be telling you guys today about change. I just wanted this first episode, or the introduction of this podcast, to like what I've said a while ago, be more casual. And for the next episodes of this Puhon podcast by ItsSebastian, make sure to comment below if you guys are from a YouTube channel, what other topics you'd want me to talk about. But if you are from Spotify right now, I mean, I don't even know if this podcast would be up in Spotify. I would be trying it a week before it would be up on YouTube, just so that, whenever I would be promoting the YouTube video already, it could also already be played in Spotify as well. So fingers crossed that this podcast would also end up on Spotify. And yeah, thank you guys so much for listening to today's episode, for the first episode of my Puhon podcast. I hope you guys would be supporting this one, and I just hope that you guys like it. And Yep, share this with your friends if you'd want to. I'm not forcing you, but if you'd want to subscribe to my YouTube channel, it's Sebastian, which is also in the cover of my Spotify podcast. Yeah, that's basically what my YouTube channel is. And that would basically just be it for today. And I hope that you guys enjoyed this one. And I hope that you guys would spread love a little more often. I'll see you on my next video. And for you guys that are listening to this one on Spotify, I'll see you on my next podcast episode. Stay safe.